So the stage is set for the Champions League final. Two Premier League sides will vie for the biggest prize in club football. Manchester City in the final for the first time in club history. Can they go all the way and win? Or will it be Thomas Tuchel to lead the Blues to glory in his first season with Chelsea? It's all to play for May 29th on CBS. And welcome along to the Champions League show. I'm Poppy Miller alongside Ian Joy, Jimmy Conrad and Luis Garcia. So the confetti has set across Europe as the domestic seasons drew to a close yesterday. And Ian, in most leagues, it came down to the very last day for European places for next season.
Yeah, I mean, what a whirlwind this was this weekend. And I actually give credit to almost every domestic league out there for making it exciting right down to the very last game in the majority of these domestic leagues, especially the top five. It was fun. Obviously, records being broken, teams sneaking in just above that red line to get into the Champions League and European places. It's what we live for, Poppy. It's moments like this where you don't know where you're looking, which game you're watching. Oh, there's been a goal here. It's changed the channel. It's been absolutely fabulous. And like I said, it's what we live for. And now we get down to business. It's the big stage.
And speaking of records being broken, Jimmy, Zach Steffen became the first American to win the Premier League title on Sunday. This Saturday, we'll see one American win the Champions League title as well. It's been another historic season for Americans over in Europe.
Yeah, no question, Poppy. I'm excited to have his autographed jersey behind me. And no, you can't have it, anybody. I don't care what you say or what you do. It is mine because he's the first American to ever do it, as Poppy said. And I also want to give a shout out to Timothy Weah, who won the Ligue 1 title with Lille, the first time they've done it in 10 years when they won the double back in the 2010-2011 season. So it's a great time to be an American. And then we're going to have a winner, an American winner in the Champions League final upcoming this weekend. So that's very exciting as well.
So a good day for Zach Steffen. Also a good day for Lucho Garcia. Your former team, Atletico Madrid, won the La Liga title, and Liverpool finished the season in third place, earning a Champions League place for next season, Lucho. I mean, what a roller coaster of a year it's been for them.
Yeah, definitely, Poppy. But honestly, I have good and bad news. As always, at the end of the competition, you have some friends always after 20 years of career that they are frustrated or unhappy because Valladolid play against Atletico de Madrid. They were relegated, another of my former class. But it's true, Atletico Madrid well deserved. They got the trophy in La Liga after struggling a little bit at the end of the competition, but they managed to stay there, to stick where they started in the beginning of the season, doing a great job and win against Valladolid and winning this trophy. And for the Liverpool side, I think that we spoke not long ago, like 2 months ago, that they were almost done. There's no chance for them for getting that top four, but I don't know how they did it. I think because of the history, because of the quality of the player they got together. And once again, they're going to play Champions League next year. So fantastic news for the red side. And let's see if next year they can manage to be a little bit more consistent and fight again to get all the trophies.
So here's how it finished in the Premier League. After 380 games, Manchester City capped off the season with a 5-0 win against Everton. They were officially crowned champions of England. Liverpool, Leicester and Chelsea, they were all in contention for a Champions League place. And despite Chelsea losing, Tottenham helped them out with a win against Leicester. We mentioned Liverpool there. What a season it's been for them. They finished with a 2-0 win against Crystal Palace at Anfield to boost them to third place. So a repeat top four for next season in the Champions League, and Leicester City, they'll play in the Europa League for the second consecutive season. And for more, we welcome in our football reporter, James Bench, who joins us now from England. James, an action-packed day yesterday to cap an unforgettable season, but this morning we turn our attention already to this weekend's Champions League final. You were on City's Champions League Media Day this morning. I mean, who did you speak to and what can you share with us?
I mean, we were lucky enough to speak to so many great figures in the title-winning side. Raheem Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne, Zach Steffen, as Jimmy was saying, the first American to win the Premier League. And Pep Guardiola, quite promising young manager, seems to be going places and looking for his third Champions League title. It was all celebrations yesterday, not only winning the title, but the Etihad Stadium saying farewell to Sergio Aguero, who with those 2 goals became the player with the most goals for one team in the Premier League. And while there was still a delight, I think, at having won the title, you could already sense a real determination and focus shifting to Saturday's game. It's a big one, and Chelsea is certainly a tough test for Guardiola's team. He's lost both of his games since Tuchel was put in charge. I asked him, what has he learned? And he's learned that Chelsea are a really good team. I have a feeling he might have taken away a bit more than that, but he wasn't telling me.
James, you've interviewed and obviously spoken to Pep Guardiola many times throughout your career, and I'm noticing a slight change in his body language, but also the way he's dealing with the media. Do you recognise the same, and what do you think the reason is for that?
I think, yeah, I completely agree. I think he's really starting to enjoy things. This is the longest tenure he's had at any of his clubs, and last season was tough. It was disappointing, obviously losing out to Liverpool and never really being in the race. But he is really enjoying life at City. I asked him exactly that, and he was saying, this is a hierarchy that gives me everything I want. He could not speak highly enough of his players as well. I think one of the interesting things was asking, how on earth can you make these players, these world-class players, even better? And he said, well, everyone I work with, the thing that they have to do is they have to want to improve. And I think you see that with him as well, that he wants to get better every day. He is just enjoying it as well. I think, how could you not have a lot of fun being sat on the touchline watching these players? They're absolutely spectacular, deserved Premier League champions, and they've got to be the favourites on Saturday, even if they have lost to Chelsea twice in the last few months.
Yep, it seems all smiles for Pep Guardiola at the minute. On the other hand, though, worrying for Chelsea at the weekend, James, not only with the result, but with Edouard Mendy being substituted after colliding with the post. I mean, this is massive for the Blues. What are you hearing about his injury, and will he be fit for the final?
Yeah, as you say, this is really huge because Kepa, the alternative goalkeeper, he might be the most expensive in the world, but he's not a keeper that's inspired confidence in Chelsea and his defenders in front of him. There's growing optimism that Mendy will be available. Thomas Tuchel, speaking in his press conference today, said the scan results were quite encouraging. I wouldn't take that as a guarantee yet. But look, Mendy, Chelsea, everyone is going to be working incredibly hard to have him fit. He's been one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the Champions League this season, and a real coup of a signing. Chelsea will want him fit, and it looks like Mendy's going to win that race.
Well, we will see how it all unfolds. James, we really appreciate you bringing us the latest from England. Thanks so much. So, Lucho, as James just mentioned there, City, they're in celebration mode at the minute after winning the Premier League title. But how quickly does that need to change now, looking ahead to the biggest final this weekend?
I think that it's not. I don't think that the players are gonna change anything on the daily basis, because they are focused. They know that even though that they have been playing for the past month without much to play for, because they knew that they already won the competition, but they are very focused. And you can see at the weekend, even though that they are not playing for anything, they were almost the 11 starter that we're going to see in the, or I guess you never know with Pep Guardiola, because you know that there is always a surprise from him. But you can see almost the 11 started at the weekend, so he wasn't afraid. He's not playing for anything. But we mentioned it not long ago that the players need to continue playing. You cannot move it away. Don't put it at the weekend or maybe for 10 days, because they lose the rhythm of the competition. So I'm sure that these players are focused. They know what they have to do. They've been doing it for so long. So it's a matter of arriving to the final and keep going what they've been doing. And to be honest, after seeing Chelsea once again, even though that they won against this Manchester City before, I think that they're going to struggle so much. They are very vulnerable in some ways at the back. And with this Manchester City, with so many players up front who can be so dangerous, I think they are so big favorites for the competition.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lucho. I think that this is City's game for a number of reasons, but I've got two for you in particular. Pep has been to the Champions League final twice. He's won both times, so he's got a nice record in these big finals in the Champions League. The second thing is both losses against Tuchel over the last couple months, he hasn't shown his full hand. He made 8 changes ahead of that FA Cup semifinal that they lost 1-0, and there's only a mistake in the back that led to the goal that Chelsea did end up scoring after 90 minutes. Then in the other game, they made some mistakes. They missed a penalty, Sergio Aguero, that would have made it 2-0 at halftime, but he made 7 changes in that game and actually played a back 3 for the first time in a while to see if he could poke some holes in that Chelsea thing. So I think he got a lot of learnings from that, but he hasn't shown his full hand, and I think that's going to play into his thing. Whereas with regard to Chelsea, we've seen what they're going to do. They already know. They have their identity under Tuchel, and right now it's not working. They've lost 3 out of the last 4, and it's getting pretty close to them being a nearly team. We talk about Bayer Leverkusen. They're famous for being a nearly team. They're called Bayer Neverkusen, and now Chelsea could be in the same boat. They barely backed into the top 4. They lost in the FA Cup final, and now they could lose in the Champions League final. So all that hype that Tuchel has built up, it could be gone if they don't win this game.
And I think that the difference, Jimmy, between being a never team and a team that could potentially win it or will win it might be the goalkeeping decision and is who he goes with, and if Mendy is in fact fit for the game. So really intriguing situation right there. But back to Manchester City, both of the guys absolutely spot on, Poppy. Really looking forward to seeing the starting 11. Intrigued to see if Sterling starts this game. I would imagine Gundogan will definitely start this game. But they have got so much firepower. They are such a dangerous team as far as creation goes that we forget how great they are defensively, how awesome their goalkeeper is, how brilliant their fullbacks are, and centre-backs. I mean, this is just a well-oiled machine and certainly the best team in Europe. And of course, I can talk about Bayern Munich, or we could even potentially talk about Manchester United and Liverpool being close to Manchester City. It's miles apart right now. Manchester City right now are the best team in Europe, and I find it a big gap between them and anyone else. And that includes Chelsea. Chelsea have lost their way just recently under Thomas Tuchel, but this is a final. This is a cup final where you have the opportunity to leave it all out there, and anything can happen. Silly red cards, injuries early on, stupid decisions. I mean, Lucho Garcia can tell you, going behind 2 or 3 goals early on in the first half, anything can happen in this story, and it's the beauty of a European final. It's something so exciting to look forward to. With City being such a big favourite, it sometimes works against you.
Well, these two teams have met twice in the last month, and as Jimmy said, it was Chelsea who got the better of them on both occasions. Tuchel is unbeaten against Pep Guardiola, but there is questions around this Chelsea side. James mentioned Edouard Mendy. We know N'Golo Kante is resumed training this week, or hoping to do so, so we'll see if he's fit and available come Saturday. And as you can see, Manchester City, they are the heavy favourites heading into this weekend, and they have just recently been crowned champions of England. All right, for more on the match, let's bring in our reporter Jonathan Johnson. JJ, Tuchel in the final for the second consecutive season, but as is Thiago Silva. Talk to us about his relationship with Tuchel and the importance for Thiago Silva and how big of an impact he needs to be for the Blues come Saturday.
Yeah, obviously this is a big match for both of them. Very different circumstances. I was on that conference call with Thomas Tuchel earlier that James was mentioning, and he was talking about how different the preparation was for last season when we saw the Final 8 in Portugal, where that was basically just a tournament situation. This played out differently over 2 legs, you know, the qualification through the quarterfinals, semi-finals to get to the final. So there's a big difference there, but both of them sort of still have that fire in their belly, having gone so close with PSG last season and then falling short. You know, and there is a feeling as well, I mean, I've spoken about it many times, that Thomas Tuchel is in his element when he's coaching the underdog team. They're not quite fancied to take the title, you know, and I think that he will make things very difficult tactically for Pep Guardiola, and obviously having somebody like Thiago Silva that he has that rapport with on the pitch will help him get his message across even more. But Thiago Silva, for him, you know, going back to Porto, where he moved early on in his career, didn't quite work out. He ended up moving to Russia afterwards, where he contracted tuberculosis, which could have ended his career, went back to Brazil before coming to Europe with AC Milan. The rest is history. We know that he's gone on to become one of the best defenders in the European game. However, he's never won the Champions League. The closest he came was last season with PSG. Can he go one step further? He'll need to have a career-defining display, I think, if he's going to help Chelsea keep Manchester City out.
JJ, I've watched Thomas Tuchel being fired from Borussia Dortmund and then surprisingly going to France with PSG and doing so well, reaching the final last season, and now surprisingly making his way over to London and then reaching yet again another final. It's an incredible story, but what is the French media saying about this? I mean, he left Paris Saint-Germain, who are not in this final, yet Thomas Tuchel is.
Yeah, absolutely, and that hasn't gone amiss in France. Obviously, everybody knows that Tuchel and Silva will both be lining up in European finals this season, and of course Edinson Cavani as well in the Europa League final with Manchester United. So, you know, that has been noted in France. But I think as well, many people are aware that Thomas Tuchel's relationship at PSG sort of run its course. I think the exits of Silva and Cavani were more acrimonious in their nature because of the way that they were just allowed to leave, two club icons, if not legends. And obviously, it will make the disappointments of this season for PSG that much more bitter if they see the likes of Tuchel and Silva and Cavani celebrating continental success at the end of this week.
Yeah, well said.
Brilliant, James. Brilliant, Jonathan. Thank you so much. We just had James on a second ago from England. We've got Jonathan joining us from France now. We've got all the reporters bringing us the latest ahead of this weekend. Thanks so much. So we know that it's a massive match. Jimmy, when you look at this Chelsea side, though, it's been a bit of a poor run of form as of late for them. Do you think that they need to find that spark this week? And what does that spark need to be for Tuchel to get the confidence back ahead of this weekend?
It's the first goal, Poppy, and it has to be scored by Timo Werner in particular. The man is a master at scoring offside goals or goals that don't count, and then the ones where he does, and he is onside, he misses. So him scoring first, I think, would go a long way, and I think if Man City conversely can score first, it would put a lot of pressure into Chelsea because, to your point, they haven't been playing well. And when I look at their team, when I look at their performance this past weekend against Aston Villa, little things are coming in. Mistakes that you don't normally see. Mateo Kovacic giving up a ball that led to a good chance for Villa. Jorginho causing a penalty. We see Azpilicueta, the captain, losing his head at the end and getting a red card. These are little things where you can tell they're frustrated, and that's not a good vibe going into a big final against a team like Manchester City. And this is the mantra I've been preaching since this draw has happened, since they facing each other in the final. It's going to be very hard for Tuchel to beat this Manchester City team 3 times over a couple months, let alone the same season. So it's a tall order for them. But if they can score first, that will maybe give them the confidence to be like, just relax, we got this, and then take it from there. But that's going to be a tall ask against one of the best defenses in Europe.
Definitely, Jimmy. And you were mentioning last week that thinking too much sometimes is not good. And we talk about Pep Guardiola doing this. And I think that Tuchel has been doing it as well. Because in the FA Cup final, we saw that they were changing position, trying to find that difference inside the pitch. Azpilicueta was playing on the wide areas, playing as a wing-back, where Reece James was playing as a centre-back, something that he tried to cover body, but didn't work out very well. Also, we saw Alonso on the left side, no Chilwell, didn't work as well. He's going to play Pulisic. He's going to play Pulisic in the middle of the park, trying to get linked with Timo Werner. They hasn't been involved in many of the occasions, many chances. A lot of chances, but not being clinical. I think that I'm a little bit concerned about this kind of situation. If Tuchel is trying to think too much, I'm going to try to put Havertz and Ziyech instead of Timo Werner or Pulisic. Mount, we know that he's going to play because he's like the star man of this team. But really, I'm concerned about this kind of situation where he's thinking too much, trying to maybe analyzing Pep Guardiola's side and trying to change something to try to overcome this situation. So we'll see, because definitely this Chelsea needs to put 120% if they want to win against Manchester City.
Yeah, I think you can safely say that Thomas Tuchel did that last season. He just maybe overthought the final a little bit, and sure, his players didn't necessarily turn up in the final as much as he would have hoped and expected, because the game was pretty much there for PSG to win. So I hope his team does turn up, and everything seems to be working against Chelsea right now. Injuries, obviously lack of form, losing games. It's been really disappointing. Now more media pressure on Thomas Tuchel. But let's not forget the job he has done. I mean, he has got Chelsea to a Champions League final. That is incredible. After being fired, 6-7 months ago from Paris Saint-Germain. Really impressive what Thomas Tuchel has done. Sure, of course, we can all talk about the job Frank Lampard did beforehand, but I give Thomas Tuchel a lot of credit for maintaining that discipline defensively. Difficult to break down, very, very solid, but Mendy's a big key for me. He needs to be fit, he needs to play in this game. Not sure Kepa's the man for me to win this game for Chelsea Football Club. They need Mendy.
And if Tuchel is to win the Champions League, he would be the first manager to do so, to start the season with one team, end it with another. Well, for more on this weekend's final, let's welcome in Columbus and former City striker Bradley Wright Phillips to join us now here on CBS Sports HQ. Bradley, it's brilliant to have you with us. Congratulations, first of all, on the team's win this past weekend against NYCFC. I mean, how's your first season with Columbus going?
It's been really, really good. Obviously hard settling in during Corona, during the virus, but the boys, the coaching staff, everyone's been great, and I feel settled in now. Good bunch of lads to be around.
BWP, I'm so thankful that Poppy brought the win up at the weekend, because it was a miserable weekend for me. So thanks for making it a miserable weekend.
I was going to mention that, Ian. Sorry. I had nothing to do with it.
I saw you down there warming up. It was inspirational. Hey, listen, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always great to have a word with you, because your experience is so vital. I just wonder what your impression is with Pep Guardiola and the job that he has done at Manchester City. And I know, going back in history, you obviously have a great loving for the club and have spent many a time there and seen a few managers come and go. But Pep Guardiola is something special. What do you think of him?
Oh, the man's amazing. I don't think we can question anything he's done, at Man City. The man's amazing. There's not too many people I would have put next to Sir Alex Ferguson, but I think, especially if he wins this game on the weekend, I think we got to start putting him in that realm.
Hey, Bradley, it's Jimmy Conrad here. I'm glad I retired.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm glad I retired from MLS before you started banging in the goals, because you definitely would have put me on a poster or something. So I'm glad that happened. So my question to you is, what do you think's been different with Pep Guardiola this season? Obviously, they spent some money. They brought in Ruben Diaz, who's really unlocked a lot of things for them defensively. But there seems to be a special sauce that nobody can really put their finger on. But do you think it's just that emphasis on defense?
I think what it was clear to see last season, they needed to get that back in shape, and I think they've done that with Ruben Diaz. Also, hey, Phil Foden, we've got to give this man his credit. This man has stepped up big time. He's, at some stages put the team on his back. I think there's been a lot of key performances during the season from big players, Gundogan as well, and it's just carried them through. But yeah, the quality's been there. And they're showing it. I think, me personally, I think this weekend they win that game easy.
Hey, Bradley, Luis Garcia here. Good to talk to you, mate. Listen,
you
got a lot of experience in England. Good to see you in England. And I always like it to maybe have a chance to go to MLS, but I was worried when I was ending my career, because physically, maybe I couldn't cope with it, because I've seen always that you guys are very strong. You have a lot of pace, and the rhythm of the competition, maybe it will be difficult for me. And I wanted to ask you about now. Now you are arriving, you are 36 now. I see that you keep with your fitness very, very high. But did you get into the game with a good physical situation, or did you kind of struggle a little bit to adapt again, coming from England to the MLS?
No. You were right to have those concerns. It's very difficult. I struggled. I think in my first season, I pulled my hamstring maybe twice. I was struggling with the heat, and I wasn't really getting on the field much. It was very difficult. But yeah, I took the off season to work on my fitness and get used to the climate, and it worked out for me. But it is very difficult. Transformation, so difficult.
It is a difficult league. It really is. No, you're right. It's a difficult league to get into, especially when you're coming from Europe. I did the same coming from Germany, and it's an unusual transition because of the league structure, when they play, the travel, the weather, altitude. I mean, there's so much to throw out there. But you've done a tremendous job, and it's really been an honour to watch you. Obviously, played against you, and to watch you now coming to the end of your career. What's in your mindset now for what's next in your career? I mean, obviously, we're not getting any younger. Now you got to think about that next step.
Yeah, obviously I think about it, but I want to try and put pieces together as I'm, coming to the end of my career. But I don't want to think too far ahead, because I have a job to do here at Columbus, and I want to keep my focus on training hard and playing well. But yeah, as you get to 36, and you have to start thinking about the other side. I wouldn't mind putting a suit on and trying to do what you guys do,
Hey, listen, don't you worry. We got a chair, a little space right here for a chair for you right here in the middle there. You might be in front of Luis Garcia, so that...
No, I can't do that. I got a face for the radio. He's got the face for the TV. I got a face for radio. Maybe we do radio.
Oh, brilliant. Well, Bradley, we can't let you go without getting an early prediction from you. You said that you're favouring City this weekend. Do you have a score prediction for us? Oh, no, I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, I don't mind. Honestly, without disrespecting Chelsea, I think, they're a difficult team to score against now. Tuchel's changed that. They're a solid team, but they don't score many goals, and I just think that'll be a problem for them in this one-off game with City. And I think I'm gonna say 2-0 Man City.
2-0 City. Bradley Wright Phillips' prediction. Bradley, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the match on Saturday and good luck in your match against Toronto. So Saturday, May 29th, the countdown is well and truly on, and we will crown the Champions League winner for the biggest match in club football. Portugal, the host, 3 p.m. the kickoff, and it's Manchester City and Chelsea who will go head-to-head for the silverware on CBS.